Hey guys, so today I'm going to share with you some of the process of detailing this tiny little water piece. I didn't film these for YouTube and I didn't time-lapse them because I just kind of worked on them sporadically and it would have been a challenge to film it all, but I am almost done with this one. I just need to fix the face. It's kind of reflective right now. But you can see that this left eye part is way too light and it's not just the light reflecting off of it. Like I actually need to deepen those shadows because it just looks kind of weird. That one is almost done. This is actually the view from my window, this very window right there. And it was raining and I painted it. And this is a bit of a throwback to my water series from around 2014, 2015. I went back to the blue paint, and yeah, these are all credit card sized, by the way. They're tiny. And just to show you quickly my setup here, I got my camera on a bendy tripod, my palette with all the stuff on it, and these are, well, that one and that one, they're both taped to the actual palette, and underneath you can see it's a Metro card. And for those of you who don't live in America or if you've never been to New York, Metro cards are basically your ticket to the public transportation system. You can have like a one-way trip, you can have an unlimited one, you can, you know, it's like a travel card. You basically put money on it and then it expires on a certain day, and you can travel with it. So long as there's money on the card, you like scan it. And yeah, I grew up in New York, so I thought this was a really cool idea for an art show. And they don't end up in the trash, you end up recycling them. So yeah, and over here I have my paint cover computer, and this is my reference, and that's Google over there. But yeah, this is what I'll be working from for this painting. So just gonna get up close here. You can see what this piece looks like. Very painty. I'm not gonna try to go absolutely insane with the details, but I would like to smoothen things up a little bit more. The first thing I need to do is definitely clear off some of the old paint because this is dried up, serves no purpose for me, and we're just gonna get that off the palette. Alright, so this is still wet. Yes, it is. Let's just put that back. I'm gonna throw these into my palette scrap jar. Alrighty, so this is about as close as I can get to the painting. I'm gonna move my light over a tiny bit so we can see better. And we do have some palette space for mixing colors. The medium I'm gonna be working with is Galkyd gel. I think I'm actually gonna coat a layer of Galkyd gel here just to bring all the tones here to be even, because there's some uneven gloss and matted areas here. And I'm also gonna be using these tiny, skinny, tiny brushes for the details, because this is a very tiny painting. So yeah, I'm just gonna place some Galkyd here, a little bit above the painting. You can't really see because it's slightly off camera. Then I'm going to take this brush, clear brush, nothing on it, and I'm just going to go over it with Galkyd. So what this does, it's like oiling out, but I'm just using Galkyd instead of mixing stand oil with paint thinner. What is that? Oh, apparently it's on the painting. Apparently it's a part of the painting. Yeah, so this is just going to make the painting look even because there are some uneven parts on it. I don't even know if you're supposed to use Galkyd for this purpose, but I'm gonna do it because I want to. So this seems to be pretty evened out now, and it looks a lot better glossy. I think oil paintings just look so much better when they're glossy. Alright, I'm gonna clean off my brush so it doesn't dry with Galkyd on it, because that would be sad. Sad day in the world of Lena Danya. So I'm gonna take some burnt sienna and, oh, this is dried, some Payne's Gray. Come on, Payne's Gray, cooperate please. Okay, you know what, let's just go with every black. since you're not fully dried up. And I'm gonna mix all that together. Gonna bring in some burnt umber, some titanium white, some cadmium lemon, some, what's that color? Some of these paints are just super dry on my palette. Okay. Just gonna mix all this. And then I'm gonna put this color in some parts of the hair, because there's like sunlight hitting those parts and they look more brown than they do black. So I'm just kind of gonna do that. Put some in this area down here. I hope you guys can see what I'm actually doing. I hope it's showing up on camera, because these are just all very subtle things and the painting is very small, so hopefully you can see it. It's a little bit of red here. And again, I'm following the reference photo, so these are just colors. I'm seeing more browns in these areas, so that's why I'm putting them there. There's a little bit over there. Okay, also I made a mistake when I said I was mixing burnt sienna. This color is actually Indian red. It's very, very, very similar to burnt sienna. It's just slightly more red, ever so slightly, but I feel like those colors could almost be interchanged. Like if you run out of burnt sienna, just go for some Indian red. And I was just trying out this color for the first time because I'd never used it before. I'm gonna put some there. Just very, very mild touch-ups so that it's not entirely like one solid color. There's also, you know, I'm gonna actually need to switch to a much smaller brush for this one, but there are very, very small amounts of like a warm tone right in this area, right where the bikini is, like right here too. Yeah, just very, very subtle differences. There's a little bit back here. Okay. Now I think I'm gonna work on some of the highlights on the head. So I'm just gonna take some titanium white. I'm gonna get some more cadmium lemon. Also, I brought the ISO, or not the ISO, I'm sorry. I brought down the shutter speed, so I hope that you can see it a little bit better. It shows up a little bit brighter. Hopefully you can see what's happening. So I'm taking some cadmium lemon. I'm gonna take a smidget of cadmium red, some more titanium white. Okay. I also noticed over time that highlights are not just one solid color. It's not just like plain raw titanium white. It's got a tint to it usually. Oh no. What have I done? You guys. Ugh. Good job, Lena. Way to go. So, how to erase. Dip your brush in solvent and just keep going over it. This is the benefit of layering because you can mess up and then just erase it. Control-Alt-Delete. Control-Alt-Z? Control-Z? I don't know what it is in Photoshop. It's like different in every program. But okay, we're back on track now. My hands are shaking, oh my god. I drank caffeinated tea, so this is the downside of working on tiny little paintings, like your hands shake, and it's kind of scary, I don't want to mess up. Just placing down subtle highlights here. It's not really looking like what I want it to, but that's okay. think this could use some more. This whole area really. Just gonna dab that on. Also, the water reflections like in this area are warmer than the water reflections in that area because there's like flesh underneath it, so even though it's a reflection, like it still has a very slight transparency to it, and for that reason it's gonna be a very slightly different color than just the water without any human body underneath it. Okay. I also need to define some of the distorted shapes of the bikini in those water reflections. So I'm gonna take some ivory black and hope that my hand doesn't like make a mistake again. Painting on tiny canvases is hard, but it's also a much faster process, so you can get more paintings done in a much shorter amount of time. For a while, I was doing only small paintings, like 8 by 10 and under, and people were like, why don't you work in larger canvases? And that was like on YouTube. People ask me all the time, and the reason is because I wanted to put up a lot of videos, and large paintings take me forever. Like I'm working on them for well over a month. That's like the minimum for a large painting. And you know, these ones I could just finish in like a week or a few days even. Okay, so I think this looks much better now. Or maybe worse. I don't know. The joy of painting. You never know until you just give up. That's terrible. Just gonna bring some of those distorted hairs in here. Give them some more depth. Oh, you know what I'm seeing now? This needs to be worked on, like a lot. Alright, so I'm gonna go in with my other anorexic brush, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of cobalt teal, sort of mix all that together. I don't really care if it's ever so slightly warm tinted or like on the greener side. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna add some Radiant Violet. It's like a really beautiful lavender color, because that's also what it looks like reflected from what I'm seeing in my reference, at least in this part of the water reflections. Alright, hands, if you could stop shaking, that would be great. My hands normally don't shake this much, but I think it's just because I had like 2 cups of black tea. So probably the reason. Alright, brighten up this part here. Brighten that part a little bit. This is so hard to detail when it's this small. Kind of gave up trying to make everything like perfect and crisp. I'm just like, I'm gonna pile the paint on and hope for the best. Also, this tiny brush is like dying now because I beat the crap out of it, so I should probably invest in more detail brushes. And yes, sometimes I do erase with my hands. I'm honestly just touching up and going over all the like prior shapes and making them look a bit darker, stand out more. Dear hand, stop shaking. Love, yours truly, Lena. Okay. Work up some of this area too. This needs to be brighter. Also, there's like some burnt sienna, like a very slight brownish like tint showing through here, so I'm just kind of painting over that because I feel like it should be a bit warmer. And also sometimes, or actually a lot of times, because these are all just distorted clouds being reflected in the water, a lot of times these distortions have like a lighter outline around the shape. So like the inside of it will be bluer, and then there's just like these weird, much lighter outlines. I wonder why that is. Water is just like a weird lens. Just kind of accentuating that light part. Kind of helps make it look more distorted and more realistic. It's weird how our eyes can recognize when something is water even though it's just, you know, shapes. This is nothing. It's paint, but you know, if you arrange it a certain way with certain colors, it can look like water. And I'm also not aiming for perfection with this piece. I'm just trying to make it look like water. Doesn't have to be perfectly detailed. I'm gonna stand up here. Okay, so definitely looking a bit better than before, but I don't like this area up here. Don't like what happened there. So we're gonna fix it. Because those highlights on the head are really not that prominent. They're very subtle, and I feel like I made them a little too much. Also, the area above the head looks way too dark. Taking some cobalt teal, some radiant green from Gamblin, and we're just gonna go over that. Because that just doesn't look right to me. Also, by the way guys, radiant green and cobalt teal have become basically my staple colors when it comes to painting water in swimming pools. Radiant green especially is just so perfect. There's little bits of it all throughout the water here. Love it. Although honestly, I gotta say that I'm kind of moving away from this particular color palette. I don't really want to just paint nothing but blue stuff all the time. I kind of want to have some more variety, and I've just been doing it for so long that it's gotten a little bit boring to me. Like, I still want to paint water, but I mean, it doesn't always have to be like, you know, blue water. I could paint natural water. So I'm gonna take some of that cobalt teal, and I'm going to add in a little bit of ultramarine blue, because towards the top here the water is deeper. There's it's just a darker kind of blue. Kind of gives the illusion of distance. Just gonna sprinkle that color throughout this area here as well. Just sprinkle it on. All right. And now I'm going to take some ivory black and I'm just going to deepen some of the darkest parts of the hair. My hair is already dark, but when it's wet, it's just turns black. And there's also, you know, light being reflected off of it because it's wet. So that's kind of the illusion I'm trying to create here. It's not kind of, it's absolutely the illusion I need to create here. I also should upgrade my vocabulary and eliminate words like sorta and kinda. Those aren't even words. Those are like shortened versions of words. But it would probably help make sense for these videos. I mix some of that color in with the watercolor. The colors of the water, not like watercolor paint. And I'm just working on this light reflection. I'm gonna put some of that color on top there as well. I'm gonna clean this brush off. I'm gonna go back to the ivory black. And just touch it up. I hope all of this is registering on camera. These are such subtle differences. But yeah, I thought I would show you guys some of this process because you never really see this. It's kind of hard to capture. I always show you like the beginning of a piece and like how it all starts from the beginning, but this part is also so important because this is like where the painting really develops, and this is the point where I decide, okay, when am I gonna be done? So I feel like it's kind of important to show that too. But let's see, I'm scanning my reference here, see if I need to make any more changes. All right, I'm gonna clean my brush off again. And, oh, this isn't fully clean, that's lovely. Also, I'm using a brush that I'm pretty sure was intended for watercolor, but you know what? YOLO. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my pretty light color here, and I'm just gonna keep touching up with my shaky hands more of these little water ripples and distortions. That was my chair, my leg moving against my chair. And the other thing is, like, I'm never satisfied with these paintings. There's never a point where I'm like, oh yes, it's perfect, it's exactly what I wanted. It's always more like a point where I'm just like, okay, I really don't feel like there's a whole lot more that I can do here. I'm just gonna move on to something else. And sometimes it's really hard to do, is figuring out when you're done. You know, at what point do I decide, all right, This is as good as it's gonna get. And I'm pretty sure such a point doesn't really exist. You just make the decision to move on because you can't just be hung up on the same painting forever. It's called perfectionism and it's bad for you. I mean, to an extent, it can help you grow if you're able to see where you need to improve, but in general, like generally, it's just not that great. It's always held me back. It's always made me stagnate, and it's just kept me from moving on. I feel like if I had stopped being a perfectionist with some of my paintings, I would have gotten way more paintings done. And I wonder how much different, or I mean, how different my work would look. Would my skills have improved faster had I just moved on and gotten over the painting and realized, like, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just paint it because you want to. I don't know. These are things I wonder as I paint water. What else can I do here? You know what? I think this is mostly done. Actually, no, wait, sorry, just kidding. The shoulder absolutely needed more work. So I'm taking some of that Indian red, taking some flesh tint, taking some burnt sienna, some actual burnt sienna, not something that I mistaked for burnt sienna. And that color is gonna go right here. Actually, that's way too bright. Just lighten it up a bit. So the shoulder is also wet, and I think it's actually also got some radiant violet in it. Maybe some blue. Just kind of mixing all sorts into here. Okay, that actually looks about right to me. So, just gonna do that. I should probably, while I'm here, also touch up the skin, because that just looks like dead people's skin right now. And I was obviously not dead when this picture was taken. This area is more or less accurate just because it's such a shadowed part, like the light's coming from the top and, you know, there's shadows underneath where the head is, like in the neck, so not really going to do a whole lot, but there's some highlights on the face that need to be added, like the cheekbone area. This is really hard to do, you guys. My hands are just shaking and I'm trying so hard not to mess this up. That's way too thick of a highlight if I'm really going for some accuracy here. I'm also gonna deepen this white water reflections just to help define the face a bit more against the shadow of the face. The face looks really weirdly shaped, to be honest. Alright. Just gonna go in with this, mix all this crap together, YOLO, but not really, because I actually care about what I'm doing. Just gonna try to, because there's also like some darkness against the highlight of the face. Just bring that forehead shape a little bit more out. Build up these shadows here a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is just about it for me. I don't know what else I can really do. Clean my brush off. Alright, I'm actually gonna bring some blue into that area because the face just, I feel like it shouldn't be protruding
that much. So I'm just gonna erase some of it. That sounds like a good idea. Okay, and then since I had to do that with the blue, I'm also gonna do that with white because the face is mostly defined by, you know, the surrounding area. And obviously the flesh tint itself, but having it border it correctly really helps bring out the shape. I don't know why I'm speaking with pauses like this. But yeah. All right, I feel like I could bring a bit more blue into that area. Then I'm gonna go back to the actual flesh tint and just go over it one more time, just to help define the shape of the face. Try not to get my desk all painted. Pretty white desk. How long will it survive? That doesn't look right. Let's lighten that area again. I feel like the chin should be a bit longer. Alright, that looks more closer to my face. Closer to how my face looks. And then I'm gonna once again go back to the highlights. Like, this is just the process. I redo things constantly. Highlights are gonna be a peachier tone this time. Okay. Hoping for the best. Hoping this highlight brush stroke won't be too thick. Hoping my hand doesn't have a seizure. Alright, that looks a lot better to me. Okay. Alright. Yeah. That looks better. I'm happy with that. And I got paint on my desk. That answers my question of how long will my table survive? Okay, so I honestly think that's it for this piece. You know, it's very small, it'd be pointless for me to just keep trying to detail it. I think that looks good enough. I spent a fair amount of time on it. Leaves it a little bit, wait, no, we're not done yet. Hold on. I gotta fix this. This looks weird. I just did this today and it just looks weird. Let's fix that. Indecisive, part 1. So I'm gonna take some sap green and I'm gonna mix it with cobalt teal. Add a little bit of that dark fleshy color. And this is the flesh that's like a darker green underneath all the water. Just gonna dab some of that on there because the brush strokes I made earlier just looked kind of weird to me. It happens. And now I'm gonna bring that color elsewhere. Just a little bit more in here. Oh, I see something else I need to fix. So this arm here has a highlight underneath it of like light reflecting off of it, and it's this very slight green color. I'm gonna put that there, and then I'm going to darken the rest of the arm because it doesn't look right to me. That's way too dark. Good job. I think that's a better color. Okay. Just a tad more green, actually. It's closer to the surface, so, you know, it's gonna have more browns in it, and the deeper the flesh, the greener it's gonna look. Okay, you know, the arm looks better to me already. I saw it and I'm like, I have to do something about this. I can't just leave this like this. There's actually some more light greens in this region. Just gonna bring that out a bit more. Okay, yeah, you know what? Okay, now I'm just gonna stop because I'll drive myself absolutely insane if I keep doing this. I think I'm done. So, we'll get up close here. This is what we have. Yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your support on Patreon. You are amazing.